Hi, Coach. Welcome to HSBM Media Days. Good to see you.
Thank you for having us.
Please introduce yourself and the players you have here today.
I'm Pete Graffio. To my right is Lincoln Dorland. Behind me here is Thomas Velarde. To my left standing is Connor Ray. And to my left sitting is Emmanuel Lantigua.
Awesome, Coach.
Coach Graffio, in terms of building up into the season, team building stands as the cornerstone of a cohesive and successful team. Every player and coach's life depend on team chemistry. Can you say a few words about the makeup of this year's Eagles team going into the season?
Well, we have 8 seniors, and the chemistry is we have all leaders, good character. But these guys have kind of been like that since they came to the school, serious, focused on playing the game, getting better every day, and their commitment to it, and the commitment to what we're teaching in the program and our process. They've been right behind it, and they've excelled at it.
And there are probably as many coaching styles as there are coaches, taking into account the makeup of this year's Eagles team in terms of experience, power, base running, and defense. What are your objectives as a coach and your outlook moving into the season?
Well, some of it doesn't change, regardless of the team. We got to be the best at doing all the little things that don't matter, maybe to somebody else, but matter to us. Getting our runners over, getting our bunts down, doing all the little things, out hustling teams, things that don't necessarily have to do with talent. We want to be the best at that. And then that's being prepared for every game, prepared, knowing our signs, knowing the situations. And like I said, this group has been with me now for the last 4 years. So I think we're prepared and ready to go. And they set a great example for our younger guys that are on the varsity too.
And going off that, to hear from the players now, how do you inspire these younger players on your team? Talk about how you guys do that.
We make sure that they're always disciplined at practice, not messing around, because they're young, they might not be mature. Obviously, we're mature enough, so taking that step and leading and making sure they're in the right spot is really key.
Anything else?
I think by leading by example and doing the right thing, and everyone will follow suit.
And you guys really tight off the field as well as on the field. Talk a little bit about how important that is for you guys to have a good relationship both on and off the field.
So some of us played in travel ball together. Most people knew Thomas before he transferred, and we all kind of hang out outside of school, or we've known each other long enough to where we always kind of clicked. So we don't really have to get to know each other. It's all just brotherly love on the field, and everyone knows each other and works hard together.
Well, that's great. Now, Coach, this is your 15th year, and you are 7 wins away from your milestone 200th career win. Talk about that.
It just means that I've had good players that committed to what we're doing, worked hard for me. It's not about me, it's about, I'll trade that for a state championship. So, I want, that's where we're trying to get every year. So, it's a nice milestone, but, it's more about my players,
Right.
and because they deserve it more than anything.
And from the player perspective, that's a big milestone for your coach. Are you guys going to work extra hard to get that for him, I'm sure?
Definitely.
Yeah. That's awesome. And also, your program, Coach, you're honoring former alumni who were drafted by Major League Baseball teams with banners on the field. Can you tell us about that? That's kind of a cool
Yeah, well,
thing.
actually, the first one we're doing is, not that he was drafted by MLB, it was Coach McCormick at FAU. He's a former alumni, but obviously Division I coach, and for a very long time have been successful there, supporter of our program. And I wanted to kind of go back into the history and acknowledge people that have been part of it. So I finally was able to get everything approved, and this year, so I think that one is February 20th. Coach McCormick's going to be out there with his family, and we're going to honor him with a banner. And like I said, it's just a matter of I want to have a history. I want to build, there was a history, but it was never acknowledged. So I want to acknowledge it. And then I have a couple other players during my time that have been drafted that are going to have some, be honored, and as well as kids that were back from the Pope days.
So you're bringing the past and the present together.
Absolutely.
And that's
Absolutely.
inspirational, though.
We should honor our history, and we'll also be putting up a big, kind of an acknowledgement of all the kids that went on to play college baseball from the beginning to the end. So again, I want it to be something that people come back to. And like I said, we appreciate, and I appreciate the past as well.
Excellent.
And to our players, you know, high school baseball is a major commitment. It's a tough game. It's a long, grind, grueling season. Can you tell us a little bit what it's like being a student athlete at St. John Paul? What kind of pride do you carry on student athlete, combining your commitment on the classroom and to the field? What's it like being an Eagles baseball player?
It's definitely a lot of time. Spend countless hours at the field, pretty much every day of the week, and getting home to have the discipline to do your homework, study, and get to school prepared. It's kind of a cycle and it gets repetitive, but staying on it every day is what's important.
And hopefully you establish that there's a lot of pride to it, and I'm sure your fellow classmates, looked up to you for that. Can any of you comment on, what you think it takes for a player to be a good teammate? Because, you go through adversity during the year, the ups and downs. What is it about a player that makes them being a good teammate, brings this bonding together and attitudes?
Just picking up your teammates, especially like when they're struggling, just have their backs and let them know that it's not the end of the world and they can bounce back from it.
Yeah, if you have a bad game and you're all down and your teammates sees that you're down, then obviously they're going to be down as well. So always having a positive mindset, positive mood, even when you're doing bad.
And Coach, you have a very tough schedule coming up here, including on the road at state champion Cardinal Gibbons. What is it like going through a full season with so many tough games, and how does that prepare you for the postseason?
That's my preference every year, is to play a tough schedule. I think it benefited us last year, even though we were 13-12, I think, during the regular season. But when we got to regionals, we kind of rolled our first 2 games there and then, lost in the regional championship. But we were prepared and had the confidence that we were ready to play it with anybody. And this year, it's the same thing. We want to find our flaws. We want to find, what's our weaknesses. So you can't always do that, and no disrespect to any program, but unless you're playing the best teams, then things can get exposed, and we'll find out how good we are and where we need to work to. I mean, the objective is to advance through the playoffs. Regular season is, obviously, we want to win, but.
And you also participate in several tournaments this year, starting the season with the HSBN First Pitch Frenzy Elite, HSB First Pitch Frenzy Elite Invitational, and also Westminster Classic and the Fort Lauderdale Classic. Does this make it easier for getting ready for the district playoffs, and how does that?
I like it because you do play, necessarily sometimes you're playing games back to back, and you're playing all quality teams. You can look at the list of teams that are in there, and everybody's a good baseball team, a good program, and everybody that's going to be fighting for, whether districts or advancing to regionals. So again, it puts us in a good position to see good teams back to back, not just once a week, but on a regular basis.
And you're closing out the season with 5 tough games, but all at home,
Yeah.
not having any travel at the end of the schedule. Does that make an easier practice routine for the final weeks, and how do you expect that to prepare?
I usually try to front load. This year we do have some early games at home, but we don't have lights. So, but at the end of the year, I always try to set it up so that we're kind of playing at home. So that gives us time, so we're not worried about traveling, buses, and getting home late, and whatever it may be. And just kind of giving us that little extra rest maybe, making it easier. So games aren't easier, but as far as just being at home, the time frame.
And for the players, what are you guys looking forward for this year for your team?
Kind of just see how everyone competes and grows, because we all played with each other since freshman, sophomore year. So kind of seeing how our powers develop, pop-ups that would be caught mostly now might go out of the ballpark. So just competing at a higher level at this point.
Anything else? Any inspirations that you want to lend out to others here that you guys have learned over the years?
I just think from our last season, I think that last 3 games that we had really showed the team that we are. I think this season, those last 3 games are going to beat every game for us this year.
And Coach, close it out. What are your expectations for this season?
Expectations are always high, but I know there's going to be bumps in the road, and that's what I try to pass on to the players, that we're going to have to deal with adversity, and as we come through that, we'll see our true character. But I have a good group of character young men here. So, sky's the limit for us this year.
Excellent. Well, we wish you the best of luck, and thank you for coming out to HSBN Media Days,
Thank you.
and we'll see you on the field soon.
Thank you.